Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, boys. It's interesting, man. Like I'm getting a little bit antsy about it. No matter how many times we like open up to each other, it doesn't get easier. When I found out where this idea started, like it couldn't have been a pure intention. So like if you cast your mind back to when you had that chat with Jerome, I think back at the start, maybe tell me a bit more about the chat.
Yeah, I think as Jerome kind of said in the last chat that we had, I kind of hadn't been hitting goals, and I hadn't been, I think to quote him, been on the beers a bit, had kind of just not been doing things that were good for me. I was kind of in a little bit of a self-destruct mode at that time. How like it actually came about was I'd had a tough 18 months, I would say. And it was a difficult 18 months. And I think I kind of hit for lack of a better word, kind of hit that rock bottom, would you say? Of like a scary kind of, I guess, moment, which went, okay, like I need to do something about how I'm living my life and how I'm doing my everyday day-to-day things. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Jerome, here, but I think I reached out to you.
I think the way that I remember it, I think we had like a couple of calls like in a couple of weeks. And I remember we both weren't going through a very good patch at that stage, but I remember like one of the calls the week before we had the ZOOP call, like you were telling me like you'd gone through like half a slab of beers or something like that, and you just like couldn't stop drinking that night. And then I remember like coming off that call being like, that's not the con that I know, or like that's just like really unhealthy, and like obviously lockdowns kind of hit us all really hard. And then I can't remember who instigated the call, but I think we both needed it at the time.
Yeah, I think, the thing that kind of took me to that point was, I think as Jerome said, I think he said about drinking half a slab. I think I remember it like it was yesterday. It was, and I think there's only, a handful of people that I've spoken to about this. But I think it would have been a Tuesday night. I had work at 8:00 the next morning. And I don't know what instigated this, but I went and got a scotch. Like I poured a scotch. I think I was watching a movie on my own, poured a scotch, and then I just absolutely spiraled, mate. I ended up going to my room with a whole bottle of scotch, and I think I near enough finished it. Like,
what do you mean by spiraled in that instance there?
Well, I guess I sat in my room and I was absolutely wasted. I sat there. My mind was just going here, there, and everywhere. I was running through old text messages with my auntie who'd passed away a year and a half before, like reading through old messages with different people, and just couldn't control myself. I was just like, I felt like I quite literally was just in a moment where I could not control anything at that point. I think so. I kind of did that, and I just remember having this thought in my head of just like, why do I have to feel this way? Why am I feeling this way? I just couldn't get out of it, and I just kept drinking, and I just kept kind of self-destruct. I just wanted to just destroy everything and just go, and went for a bit of a wander. And this is at maybe 4:00 in the morning. And I just ended up, I just didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know where I was going. I was confused. I couldn't stand up. I could hardly walk. I was just walking. And then I just kind of had this moment, and it's a bit difficult to rehash, but the
I can imagine.
the had that moment of like that was it. Like just kind of I'd reached that point where it was done for me, and it was kind of like, what's the point? Um, anything feels better than what this feels like. Um, I think I had all these thoughts going on like in my head of like, you know, I'm hurting people around me, I'm hurting myself, people are panicking, people are worrying, like just get rid of it. Like you can control that one thing where you can get rid of it. Um, yeah, and I think um, I ended up just going for that walk and putting myself, oh god, I put myself on like those um where I lived, there's a train station just at the back, and I just went and lay on I just went and lay on those tracks for an hour. Just yeah, like I'd made the decision, like the decision was there. Um, and thank God, thank God it didn't. Nothing came for an hour. Um, I I just lay there and just kind of wallowed a bit and just was in, I guess, just in tears. I just didn't know what to do, and it was actually, I think I took my phone with me, and I wasn't going to. I was going to just leave my phone and just go. And I took my phone with me, and I think I just checked a message, and I think I got a message from, would have been my nan, like, because in England it would have been a different time, and thank God it was just a random thing. She just messaged me, and I I ended up having to call her, and I could not talk at all. Couldn't say a word, but yeah, she just was just talking, like just kept talking to me and was just like encouraging and just saying, okay, yep, it's okay, you know, it's fine. Like you can go for a walk for me, just go for a walk, just um, like what's going on? Talk to me and walk, talk to me and walk. Um, and then I got a call from my uncle um, as well, and you know, it was, I think those two kind of phone calls just, I don't know what it just got me back inside the house, I guess. Um, and I remember just sitting there on the edge of my bed, just going, you know, um, like you've got to do something. Like you've got to do something. Um, and yeah, that was kind of what led me to reaching out to people. I was either I had a choice. I had a choice whether this is going to happen inevitably, or like I need to do something about it.
Yeah, I remember like it was like the next day because I was like, I heard you were on the beers or something like that because I think you sent me a message. I can't remember, but from that night, um, mate, the way you say it is exactly like the way you told it to me was like it was just like an everyday thing. And I remember like coming away from that chat being like I was in tatters after that. I was like, whoa, holy shit! Like just the way you told me, it was like just like an everyday, like a walk in the park. But like it really stuck with me during that time because I was like, uh, this isn't who I know as exactly as you say, like the guy that, most people in our group really come to for advice and is really a huge rock in our support structure and our network. And yeah, like that was really, really tough. And then I remember, I can't remember if I said it this time or one of the other times, but like, I find it so amazing how you tend to reach out, like when you have hit that point. Because I know, like me personally, like I never reach out when I'm ever at that area. Like I'm just like totally in, don't talk to anyone. So like, man, I'm so glad that you did because it's it's really good that you can do that.
Turning point, isn't it? That's I mean that's the first time I've heard that, and that's not easy to listen to, and I think it highlights one from it's that the scariest part is always like that feeling of losing control. And that sounds like that's where you're at, in terms of you're at a stage where you just had no control. And similarly, in a similar fashion, Jerome also is in a position where he doesn't have control, and he's got this, feeling of I want, something's up, and I want to help him. I don't know what to do. You feel helpless. I know that's how I felt in the past, because we've had similar chats, and this is obviously not like a one-off thing. Like, it's been going on for a couple of years, and it's that constant feeling of like I don't know. I want to help. I want to do something, and I can't do anything. But I think the really important thing, I think the reason why we're talking about this now is because what happened from that moment is really like I think there's something in it, in terms of like potentially being the perfect way to respond to that as a friend. I think that's what Jerome did at that point, because Jerome, and you can tell me in a second, but I can imagine if I put myself in your shoes, you're like, I can't really change anything here. I want to pull him out of it, but and I know I feel helpless. And you can sometimes get in that mode where you just want to talk and like try and like explain things and say it's actually not that bad. But I know I can say from experience, like, that stuff just almost falls on deaf ears. Like that, when you're in that zone, you can't just get talked out of it. So I think the way you responded in terms of setting up this challenge is like the perfect way to respond to having like a mate in a bad place, because you did something where you start controlling what you can control, and it didn't happen straight away. But if I look back then to now, like, that decision to start that has turned Con's life around in a way.
I can't say that like I was 100% purposeful, like that, I'm going to try and change Con or anything like that, or like try to get him out of anywhere. I completely agree with you. Like, every time I've tried to talk through things when people are, not wanting to hear that, or not ready to hear it, or just aren't in the right headspace, like, it doesn't really work. I'd be lying to you if I said that I thought that doing this challenge was going to be so powerful. I don't know how powerful it has been for you, Con, but really powerful for, I feel like, a lot of us. I know you was like a real competitive guy, so I was like, let's just put a wager on it. And that's kind of where I guess it started. It kind of just started as like a real innocent idea. And the benefits from it, who could have known it? It could have such a powerful effect.
Yeah, tell us, like, what's changed since then?
I know this might come across as the cheesiest thing on earth, but I think everything. I think if I look at myself, when was that? February. I wasn't achieving a thing. And not that I wasn't achieving a thing, but I wasn't achieving things that made me happy. I think Jerome, the way he addressed it was perfectly, and the way he reacted, like, he didn't try and tell me everything's okay, because it wasn't. He didn't try and advise me on things to do, or he just listened, I think, and he just listened and just let me talk, and just kind of felt it with me, and just felt what I was feeling, kind of just empathized, I guess, with what I was going through. He honed in on a couple of points that he knew just from being mates for so long. He honed in on a couple of things that he knew that they were the innate features of my personality, like being competitive, doing running, doing those things that I've always enjoyed. He kind of just poked. He kind of just started planting seeds of those ideas, and it just grew from there. And if I look at where I'm at today, I think, I run 4 or 5 days a week. I work out a couple of days a week. I haven't taken a mental health day off work for over 2 months, which is the longest period of time in 2 years that I haven't taken a mental health day off. Like I could not, I can't put into words what what you guys and what everyone else has done for me, because it's been a roller coaster, but I can't thank you all enough.
Please don't underestimate the benefit and value you add to our lives as well. That's an important part.
I think
Don't underestimate that.
And I don't underestimate it, but I think on top of that, I do want to touch on the fact that it's not, and you're not going to accept this, but I'm going to say it anyway. But like when you're in this position, you feel you can be a bit of a dick, and you can be a bit of you can kind of close yourself off. I think I got my unread text messages to bloody 200 and something because I didn't want to talk to anyone. The amount of times that people reached out, I ignored. I think Denks would call me and would leave me a 2-minute voicemail of him screaming down the phone for me to answer him.
Sorry about that.
And I didn't think about how it could make them feel. It feels very selfish. It's not selfish. It's something that you're dealing with. It's completely not selfish, but it feels selfish. And I still do apologize for putting people through what I was going through without thinking about how it could be impacting them as well. So as much as I'm grateful for everyone, and as much as I'm thankful, I'm also on the other side just as much apologetic and sorry.
I just want to highlight that I entirely accepts your apology, but you're entirely forgiven. Like I think that's a big part. Like for sure, if that's how you feel about it, I can't take that away from you, regardless of whether I disagree. And like I said, I never felt it was a burden. But I just do want to make note that I've heard you, I've listened to you, I've accepted what you said, and you're entirely forgiven. To me, it was you're basically playing hard to get. So the longer you left me hanging, the worse the screaming got in those voicemails. Yeah, but I mean that.
Yeah, I think I'm the same as Danks. Like if you feel like you need to apologize, I'll take that apology. But just know that you've never and will never be a burden on me. Or I don't know if I can speak on behalf of the boys, but never on them either, and the girls. Because
sure can.
As Danks just said before, and I remember Danks saying this to you during one of those ZOOP chats, and it really stuck with me. But like, never forget the power, or never forget the value that you bring to the group. And you can be grateful for what we bring to you, but we're always going to be forever grateful for what you bring to us, and all of the good and all the bad moments that you have. All those moments combined make you, and you are something special to all of us. And that at the end of the day, you're a star. So I can, really say that from the bottom of my heart. I just wanted to say that before you get away with an apology that doesn't get unanswered.
Yeah, I think I wanted to say as well to you, Cons, and you've had a lot of attention on you, and I hope you can take a little bit more. But I just wanted to say that, I think the chat we've had over the last couple of hours is super, super powerful. Not only in terms of a message for people, but also for your own process. And I speak from experience on this, but I think it took me a while to realize that one of the most incredible things I think we do as humans is our ability to find purpose in suffering and in the difficult moments. And it's not easy, but we see countless examples of it, like whether it's the response of a community to like a natural disaster, or a family doing some amazing work with a charity after like a tragic death in a family or something. But I guess I just want to make sure that you acknowledge that despite how hard the last 2 years are and all that you've gone through and still like experience at times, what you're doing now, and honestly what you've done for people like for quite some time, it's an example of you taking control of your suffering and finding purpose in it. And if it wasn't for what you've been through over the last couple of years, you wouldn't be impacting all the people that that will watch this video, and all the people that you do impact like day to day. And you wouldn't have been able to give so much to our ZOOP group, and you wouldn't have been able to pull me through some of the hardest months of my life last year. And like, we're all super proud of you, and I know I am. So lots of love, my man.
Thanks, boys. Yeah, I'm super thankful. I love each and every one of you. People watching this that know that I love each and every one of them too, and I'm so grateful for, I don't know, where I am right now and the position I'm in because of thanks to all the people that have helped me get there. And yeah, it's
Look at us. We didn't even cry.
Look at us. Fuck, I was so close.
I thought there'd be some tears, but no,
I didn't talk for the first half an hour. I couldn't talk.
Couldn't find any words.
I had lots of things in my head. I had lots of things. Couldn't get one out.
No, we got through tearless, which is, it's okay to cry, but we didn't.
I probably cried tonight. You'll think I'm joking.
I think I said to Jerome today, like, I didn't really care that we're posting this or we're filming it. Like, I was actually just at a point where I was actually, I wanted to talk about this with mates. And it just happens to be part of a bigger thing.